So is that your understanding that there could have been some vetting issue?
No, I think that the processes were followed that were supposed to be followed according to our policy.
So you think it was properly vetted?
I think based on what our policy said, it was properly vetted.
This is actually scary they put this in writing, I think. Of the more than 70 staff and administrators who attended, none contacted the district office to express concern. So they're all just totally disconnected. So after the Board of Elections meeting on October 20th, I came over here to the Adams County Ohio Valley Schools Board meeting, where I had a lot of people contacting me about issues about this dance team that came into, I guess, the high school, and some people have told me maybe more. After the event, I did speak to Dr. Shipley, the president of the board, and Don Wallace, the superintendent here. Can I get one of you to do a quick interview on whatever the heck happened with this dance troupe?
I think we put out information on our website that covers all of it.
I didn't ask for information on your website. I asked for one of you elected officials to do an interview about what happened with this dance troupe. So you won't do an interview about what happened with this dance group?
I'm not sure.
I don't have a comment about other than what she put out.
So I can hardly hear you because it's so loud.
I said whatever she put out was what happened.
Do you know? I don't even know what happened. I just see posts and people coming to me asking me about this group and appear to have not been properly vetted. So is that your understanding that there could have been some vetting issue?
No, I think that the processes were followed that were supposed to be followed according to our policy.
So you think it was properly vetted?
I think based on what our policy said, it was properly vetted.
So then it was who made this? It appears to be very controversial with the community. So who made the decision, or what policy would allow something that, gets the community up in arms, or some element of the community up in arms? Is there something wrong with the policy that it would be vetted, but I don't know anything about it. I'm not trying to set you up. I'm trying to give you an opportunity to clarify.
We're going to look at our policies and see what happened that, that caused the controversial group.
Yeah.
So I think we have to look at those policies and review those and making sure that we're following the appropriate steps.
So I had, this might be unrelated but with my stuff with Kelly Jones and the girls in the helicopter and so forth, is a friend of mine who does media work, like commercials. Is like, you have to be really careful nowadays vetting anybody that comes anywhere, because you don't know what they've done in their past. So he was talking about just in the old days, you would do like local commercials. I live closer to the Cincinnati area, and in local commercials, there would be models and stuff that would do local commercials. He's like, you can't trust anybody. Wholesome person comes forward, and you have to have somebody check them out, because you find out that they've done this or that in their past, and it's kind of disqualifying. So,
and AI kind of disqualifies all that as well, because people set other people up.
Do what?
I said AI also kind of disqualifies that, because there are things that are put out there that are actually not true at all, but through AI.
So do you believe that some of the things that people have put out about this group are not legit? I don't know. I truly don't know anything about it, other than I came here for the Board of Elections meeting, and people had said to come over here, so I came over here.
The program that was presented had nothing to do with an alternative lifestyle that they show on that is not what was shown to our children.
Okay, but in hindsight, it probably would have made sense to see if there's some.
We're going to check.
Because what I've seen online, if it's true, is that kids were told to go, there's a group to follow, or if they went out there to try to follow them.
When I asked the administrators who were in the program,
that didn't actually happen.
Was
there any video or audio taken by the school of this?
Not of the school. There is video of it with no sound that we have in our possession.
And who took that? So
that's part of
student?
That's part of our cameras.
Oh, okay. So like your surveillance system.
And then the group themselves videoed it. Okay.
And by the way, you are the superintendent here. And you are the president of the school board here.
Yes.
Okay. I know it's a tough job. I don't think that hopefully if there was anything, wrong or inappropriate, it shouldn't happen. Okay. But I think school boards are a tough job now, because there's so many things that can go on, and it's such a minefield. And I know I think you get paid by the meeting or something. And so I appreciate you just saying a few things to me. We'll see if the audio comes out with us being so loud in this room.
Okay.
So thank you, ladies.
So it wasn't until after the board meeting that I became aware of the statement they had put out. Remember, I went to the Board of Elections meeting and just shot over to the school board meeting after the Board of Elections meeting. And so I saw that the school then put out a 5-point statement with an additional comment. I want to cover key things out of that statement because I'm going to call bullshit on the statement. And you just saw my interview with the president of the board and the superintendent. But I want to also highlight before I jump in a comment that was left that I saw on the post about the statement by a parent talking about the definition of bullying, okay? Causes mental or physical harm to the other student and is sufficiently severe, persistent, or persuasive that it creates an intimidating, threatening, or abusive educational environment for the other student, okay? So I want to highlight this because now what we have is a set of people that train kids to see everything as bullying. Everything, somebody doesn't like me, somebody won't play with me on the playground. That's bullying. Everything's bullying. We need to quit this nonsense. We need to be having rallies about self-reliance and persistence, not about everything you're a victim. The key thing is these liberals, and you want to remember in school systems, all the people, whether it's small town, big city, they're all trained through the same colleges how to behave. And this bullying thing is about putting an air of victimization on everyone. Now, obviously, real bullying should be unacceptable. When I was a kid, it was unacceptable. But the boundaries, a lot of it is, just because Johnny doesn't like me doesn't mean that he's bullying me. Just because somebody won't hang out with me doesn't mean he's bullying me. So I really appreciate this comment from I assume a parent, Michael Parker, to put some perspective on it. Because I think a lot of this stuff is nuts that we even do it in schools. Where is the rally about persistence and self-reliance? That's what I want to understand. All right. Or how about the rally about values, ethics, and morals? When is the rally on values, ethics, and morals versus the rally on how you should welcome and embrace people who appear not to have your values, ethics, and morals? And if you don't welcome and embrace them, that makes you the bad person. You're the bully then. So let's get into this statement. So there's a 5-point statement. It says, response to concerns regarding recent anti-bullying assemblies. I might not read every word of it, but I'm going to put it up on screen. We're aware of a public outcry relating the anti-bullying assemblies. Were they anti-bullying or pro-inclusiveness of people that don't share your moral and ethical values? Assemblies presented at West Union Elementary School and West Union High School last week. We appreciate the community's concern and want to provide accurate information, which basically says, F you, we're not apologizing for shit right at the beginning. So the presenters and the steps taken before and after the assemblies. Authorization, 1. This is 1. The assemblies were authorized by the building administrators. The group engaged was the Echo Dance Team. All right, well then what building administrators fired for having absolutely horrendously bad judgment? Okay? If you're so detached from the community that you don't realize what's going to be extremely controversial, then maybe you should seek another profession, not living off the taxpayer tit, if you know what I'm saying. Second thing, vetting process. The performers came highly recommended from multiple Ohio school districts. Somebody should request copies of those recommendations that were received, who had previously hosted the same program. Feedback from those districts was overwhelmingly positive. Okay, well, why don't you publish all that feedback that you use to make this determination? Highlighting the group's energy, professionalism, and strong anti-bullying and self-esteem messages. Again, what is it? Not persistence and self-reliance, but you are a victim. You are a victim. You're being bullied. Again, real bullying, absolutely unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. Sometime I'll tell a story about some guys bullying girls on the school bus when I was in school and how I handle it. So item number 3, program content and message. The performances included multiple references standing up for oneself and others, the importance of inclusion, that means LGBT. I have never seen where inclusion doesn't mean accept people who have values, morals, and ethics that are at radical opposite of what yours may be. By the way, I think people have the right to have whatever values, morals, and ethics they want within line with the law. But this notion that you're a bad person if you don't just accept those values and morals and ethics of somebody else is nuts. Okay, you know what? You know why you can't have a rally that says, you know, these people need to accept the values, morals, and ethics of Christian, you know, heterosexual people. We never have that rally. So importance of inclusion, reporting bullying to an adult, I'm a victim, and encouraging all students to find their purpose and talents. Okay, purpose and talents means you're confused. Okay, find your purpose. Find your purpose. Okay, maybe at church kids should find their purpose. Maybe at home they should find their purpose, not by some weirdo dance team. Visuals supporting anti-bullying message were displayed throughout. At the elementary and high school level, for example, students were encouraged to set goals and include others, sit with a student who may be alone at lunch, get involved in school activities such as athletics and music, report bullying to a trusted adult. Okay? Now it said anti-bullying messages that were displayed. Well, where are those? Put those online. Show us the messages that were displayed. This is what your statement says, school board, so show us the messages you're claiming were displayed. At the beginning of the high school assembly, the lead spoke about persistence, goal setting, etc. In between each song, a screen was displayed and audio provided about standing up for peers, speaking out, strategies, etc. At the end, each of these three performers spoke about their personal experiences, whether that was being bullied, standing up to peers, speaking out in school, when in school, etc. All right. So, okay, let's have those. What were those? Who were the three performers? Why don't you identify them, and why don't you tell us what their personal experiences were? Okay, were their personal experience? Any of them have a personal experience that they were Christian and they were being dissed by people who were anti-Christian at school? Anybody? I guess none of the performers probably had that story. Number 4, staff awareness during the performance. This is actually scary. They put this in writing, I think. Of the more than 70 staff and administrators who attended, none contacted the district office to express concern. So they're all just totally disconnected. They're all fucking totally disconnected from concern or report anything inappropriate during or after the assemblies. Staff members consistently reported that the program was positive, engaging, and appropriate for students. Hey, this is what telling you homeschool. So the 70 staff members, not one. This is their own statement. The community's outraged, but not one of 70 staff members share the same values of the community. I want you to think about that. Not one of 70 staff members, by their own writing, shares the same values of the community. And then number 5, content of specific songs. The district does not support or condone the adult version of Pink Pony Club, which contains inappropriate content. However, the version performed for our students was significantly altered with the lyrics rewritten to be age appropriate. Multiple staff members confirmed that the songs presented were school appropriate and comparable to Kids Bop versions of popular music. Okay, so why don't you put my Kelly Jones OnlyFans girl video, why don't you play that at school and block out the hoochie with Kelly Jones signs? Because we've altered it to be appropriate. I mean, this is nuts. So if you take, let's say you take that song Wet Ass Pussy, okay? You know, you can't play the song Baby It's Cold Outside, but the Wet Ass Pussy song, that was number 1 in America for a few years. So if you alter the lyrics, play that song, isn't it then going to create a market in the kids seeking out that same musical tonnage and hearing the other lyrics? Do these people, Dan Bongini used to call people like some of these school people, the smart, stupid people, the smart, stupid people. If you take a song that is inappropriate, it's like, hey, we're going to put Hustler magazine up on the screen. We're going to block out the dirty parts. But you're creating a market in students looking for that content. And when they look for that content, they're going to find the regular lyrics, not the altered lyrics. Okay, and then additional clarifications. Okay, so it is important to note that at no point during the elementary or high school performance did the entertainers promote or identify an alternative performance name or group. Okay, well, that's on you. Dumbasses didn't apparently Google search these people. Building administration became aware that that separate identity only after community members raised concerns online. I'm sorry. Hold on. I thought we did all this vetting back here. We did all this vetting, And we got all these recommendations from other schools. So basically they're saying the entire school system in Ohio is unable to properly vet and gets great positive feedback. Nobody realized it. Nobody realized that there was any issue. So it became aware of that separate identity only after the community members raised concerns online. They may have to be individual students. I don't even know what that means. They may have to be individual students. I don't know. Unfortunately, much of what is being shared on social media does not accurately reflect what occurred at the assemblies. Well, then put out the video. You said that the group recorded it. Where is the video? Put it out already. Be proud of it. If it's great, be proud of it. Put it out there. That which you are proud of, you promote. That which you are ashamed of, you hide. The online portrayal contains misinformation and personal attacks. Okay, personal attacks. Okay. Nowadays, any criticism is a personal attack. That's what smart, stupid people believe. That have caused unnecessary harm. People are crying somewhere. To dedicated educators, people sucking on the taxpayer tit, okay, who acted with the best interests of students in mind. Did they really? And by the way, are they supposed to act in the best interests of students or the best interests of parents? Think about it for a second. Students aren't fully developed adults, so the students may want to have extra desserts at lunch all the time. Okay, maybe the students would like to watch a porno movie in the high school. Okay, so it's funny they don't say the best interest of students and parents, parents, and families. Okay. We urge our community to rely on verified information and direct communication with our schools rather than social media narratives. Bullshit, okay? What they're saying here is we are Pravda. We want you to only rely on us. And you can't trust them. I just read off the 5 things. They appear to be smart, stupid people by what they're saying about this event. Dozens of educators, staff, and administrators were present and found the performance to be positive and uplifting. It was 70 before, 70 people. Why don't we put out that list? Why don't you put out the list of the 70 people that work for the school district that saw no issue with this? The funny part is not one, their own admission, not one person, something that outraged the whole community. There wasn't a single person that worked for the school district that was concerned about this right after it happened, that went into the principal or whoever building administrator's office and said, hey, I think there could be a problem with this. Not one of these 70 people had the cognitive skills to do a Google search themselves. Nobody noticed. And they're supposed to be training your kids to be successful. You know, part of being successful is to be able to do your research and have some intellectual curiosity. Hey, by the way, when's the intellectual curiosity rally to teach people you should be intellectually curious and use all the wonderful technological tools you have to find answers to questions and vet things using multiple sources? Okay, so we continue to encourage respectful dialogue. No, you don't. There was no dialogue in the meeting. There was no board. Look at how they reacted when I tried to do interviews with them. Okay, they're like scared to it. And why are they scared? Are they scared because they're proud of what they did, or are they scared because they're afraid they're going to fall into a pit because what they did really didn't make any sense? We continue to encourage respectful dialogue as we work together to ensure all programs in our school system support our shared mission to educate, protect, and empower every student. Well, apparently it's not a shared mission, because you said of 70 people that were adults in this rally, not one saw any issues with this. So I wasn't aware of this statement when I was there. So I wanted to go through it to just call bullshit on the whole thing. These are smart, stupid people. And they show absolutely no accountability or responsibility. How much better would it have been? This is why these people are such smart, stupid people. How much better would it be had they just simply said, we're sorry, we messed up, we're changing our vetting processes, we realized that to a lot of the community this did not align with their values, and we are going to take action to make sure we never do that again. How much better would that be? But they can't do it because they're smart, stupid people. They can't admit we just effed up. Just like you saw in the interview, the vetting process worked fantastic. So it could happen again. It could happen again because the vetting process worked fantastic. I'm told that before I got here, I got here late because of going to the Board of Elections meeting, that 5 or 6 people maybe spoke about the dance team issue specifically in public participation.
I only caught one of them, which is Jacob Hurt.
Like being the dead horse here, guys, but I'm also going to go back to the dance team that was brought in. There's several names that they went under. Prismatic Magic, J-Line Music, Echo Dance Team. If you do a very simple Google search, the AI overview says controversial dance team who has been to multiple schools promoting LGBTQ, blah, blah, blah. You can read it on the AI overview. So my question, was it a lack of due diligence? Was it on purpose and malicious? Or was it as simple as we're not doing our job?
Amen.
Any of which are unacceptable. Like everybody else has said, if we'd have brought a preacher in, it would have been the end of the world. I mean, it would not have flown. So even if they didn't reference J-Line Music, if you do a simple Facebook search of Prismatic Magic or Echo Dance Team, it takes you to J-Line Music. This has been going on in multiple schools, so it is, like I said, it's a lack of due diligence on the administrator's part. You guys can pull it up here. Everything, the first page shows provocative photos. If we want to go down that road, we're going to go on the opposite side. We're going to reference Matthew 18:6. It says, whoever causes one of these little ones who believes in me to sin, it would be better for him to have a great millstone fastened around his neck and be drowned in the depth of the sea. I don't know who on this board is a Christian, but as a Christian, you should be pissed. You should be appalled that this was allowed to happen. Those of you that are running for re-election should be in an uproar if you're wanting to take seats.
Amen.
Today, shared on Facebook, that said more than 70 staff members and administrators who attended, none of which expressed any concern. That's BS. I've spoken to several personally that were outraged about it. Several students that got up and walked out. I don't know whose tracks we're trying to cover here. Also, I'm going to request a copy of the contract. I want to know who signed it. By the Ohio Public Records Act, Revised Code 149.43, we all have the access to all public records. So I'm going to request that. Don't know when you guys will get it to me. I also implore you, answer our questions here. Do not hide behind curtains in an executive session. Address this here in the public where everyone can see who is voting for what. Thank you.